Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I'm just going to give everyone a second to get logged in, and then we'll get started. All right. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone, wherever you may be joining us from today. Welcome to today's webinar, co-hosted by the New York Oracle User Group and Oracle partner Viscosity. We've got an awesome speaker for you today, Rich Niemiec, Oracle ACE Director. So excited to have him. Take advantage of the time you've got with him and ask questions. It is a live webinar, so you can submit questions in the Q&A field throughout the presentation, and Rich will get to them at the close of the presentation. All right. Presenting or hosting with me today is the New York Oracle User Group. My name is Monica Lee from Viscosity, and with NYOUG, I've got Coleman and Rob on, and I'm going to let Coleman tell us a little bit about NYOUG.
Thank you, Monica. So the New York Oracle Users Group was formed in 1984 for the exchange of ideas, assistance, and support among users of Oracle software products. You can reach out to us on LinkedIn, on X, and everywhere there are media places. You can do that as well. And I want everybody to stay tuned. We are going to be live September 30th at IBM's offices in New York City. If you follow our email blasts, you'll see that we're going to have a great list of speakers, including Rich Niemiec, who will be there live. So I just want to thank Monica and Viscosity for these series of webinars that we've been doing for the past, I think we're on 6 years now, and we'll continue to do so. Thank you, Monica. Please continue.
Thank you so much, Coleman. Yes, we're excited to come up to New York. If you had seen on the screen, I just put this old 2009 little slide that NYOUG had forever ago, and I just thought this was fun because we've got Mr. Nemec right here. So we're excited to be back in person in New York City. So if you are joining us today virtually from New York, we hope to see you live at the end of September. All right. So if you are familiar with us, I apologize. I'm sure you've heard my little spiel a million times, but if you're new, welcome. I'm just going to tell you a little bit about Viscosity. We are a consulting firm, and we do consult on the full Oracle stack. So I just want to tell you a little bit about that before we get started. All right, so Viscosity is built upon these three main pillars: data, apps, and infrastructure. Across the bottom, you'll see in gray offerings we have across all three pillars. So if anything here resonates with any upcoming projects you may need assistance with, any pain points that your team is going through, if you are ever looking for a trusted advisor or some consultants to help you along the way, definitely reach out to me. I would love to see how we can help you. I've got a great team behind me, which they're speaking, they're consulting, they're working with people across the US all the time on their Oracle systems. And some of those folks are here. So these are my colleagues who are part of the Oracle ACE program. Hopefully, you recognize them from webinars like this, but also from conferences in person, or maybe from owning some of their books or following their blogs and their social media. Um, I would definitely look for folks like them. The Oracle ACE program is worldwide, and they definitely um, reward individuals for their um, volunteering time and their technical expertise that they give and provide to the Oracle community. It is across different um, topics throughout Oracle, but definitely check them out. Our folks are in the database and development sectors of the ACE program. Okay, on this slide, a couple of our more popular services that we provide. My favorite one I always point out is Oracle License Management when it's time for you to renew or refresh anything, hardware or software. Oracle partners like Viscosity just make it a lot more easy for your team. We can also fight to get you better deals, and then we can also keep up with you to make sure you're actually taking advantage of your investments in the right way and to the max. We do also provide near zero downtime migrations, and we do a lot of health and performance checks for folks. And then, as always, managed services, staff aug, those are things you can go through partners like us for. And then finally, today's webinar again is live, so don't forget to ask your questions along the way. It is being recorded, so yes, you will get to have access to the recording to rewatch, and you'll have the slide deck from today and any other resources that the speaker may want to give you and share with you. We will have those things posted at orapub.com, and they will also be at nyoug.com. You will get an email from myself or my team that will just let you know when it's ready to view. If you are not familiar with how we post these, you would go to www.orapub.com, sign up for a free membership, and you can look at tons of webinars. We have so much on Orapub that's free, and it's the recording next to the slide deck. So it's just a lot of great resources you can always refer to there. You do just have to sign up for a free membership. We do have paid memberships there as well that you can go browse and look at. It just gives you a little extra as far as tools and some discounts to our paid live virtual classes. We do have a virtual class coming up soon from another Oracle ACE director, Sean Scott. He's going to be doing a master class on Data Guard. So if you are interested in that, go to Orapub and check it out. I would also ask your employer to reimburse you for that because it is great training. I think it is 3 days, 3 hours each, if my memory serves me correct. But you get all of the resources from that and all the recordings. So, as far as training goes, it's fairly affordable and you get great resources to take home with you. So, go look at that. We've got another one that is on AI by another ACE director, Craig Shalahammer. I think that one's coming up in September. So Data Guard, I believe, is this month. I might be wrong, but it's either September, October, or August, September. But go check that out. But okay, enough from me. I think we are about ready to get started. Coleman, if you'd like to introduce Rich, we'll get started.
Thank you, Monica. So, Rich is the current Chief Innovation Officer of Viscosity North America. Rich is an Oracle ACE Director, a world-renowned IT expert, and was a co-founder and the CEO of Tusk, a Chicago-based systems integrator of Oracle-based business solutions, started in 1988. Rich has served as president of Rolta Tusk and Rolta EICT. Rich is the past president of the International Oracle Users Group, IOUG, and the current president of the Midwest Oracle Users Group, MOUG. Rich has architected and tuned many Fortune 500 systems over the past 25 years. His experience in data processing ranges from teaching to consulting with emphasis in database administration, performance tuning, project management, and technical education. Rich is one of six originally honored worldwide Oracle certified masters and advised Oracle development from time to time. In 2017, he authored the Oracle 12c Performance Tuning Tips and Techniques, an update of his previous four Oracle bestsellers on Oracle 8i, 9i, 10G, and 11i performance tuning. Rich was inducted into the Entrepreneurship Hall of Fame in 1998. And again, I want to thank Viscosity for co-hosting these series of webinars for the past 6 years. And I want to welcome Rich to present today. So thank you, everybody. Monica?
Yes. Rich, are you ready? If you're there, we can't hear you. All right, Rich.
Let me know if you could
Oh,
see
there we
that.
go. Yep, we can see it and we can hear you.
Right. Well, welcome everybody. I want to start by saying when I look at AI, AI is about augmenting individuals. And if you look at it as augmenting individuals, you're going to be very successful with it. Notice this quote: 79% of chief marketing officers agree AI driven optimization has risked making their brand look identical to others, which is exactly what they don't want to do. I think AI currently, people get a little bit lazy and they don't take the time to do it right. But this is going to be a talk. I'm not going to go through some of Monica's slides here at the beginning, but it's nice to have 4 ACE directors in your back pocket when you're doing an upgrade. So I highly recommend thinking about viscosity when you need to do something. I'm going to look at the economic potential of your data just because I always do. And then the first part of, call it AI, was machine learning and algorithms. And I've given a whole class here at the NYOUG. I'm not going to spend a lot of time in there, just to give a couple of examples. And I'm going to focus on LLMs, things like looking at multi-dimensional space and how vector embeddings work a little bit. And I'm going to look at how the future looks. A little bit on Larry and what he talked about at AI that I thought was important, very few slides. And then some of the bad and ugly. I don't want you to be scared by it, but I think it's important to know. I always show this slide, and this came out a few years ago by McKinsey, saying that 25% of your value as a company is in your data. Are you leveraging it? The problem, as you can see here, can be copied perfectly and infinitely. So let's look at the good of AI. Oracle is really the good of AI. Why is it the good of AI? Because something AI needs more than anything else in the world is security. And Oracle has been doing it for 50 years. The second thing it needs more than anything else is speed. And because of all the ways Oracle partitions, the way they build indexes, the way they do in memory, the way you can recover a system with DataGuard, the way you can do sharding for data sovereignty and things like that. And now expanding their data centers in the cloud even more so. And they also learn by using their own stuff in things like the apps that they built. A robot may not look like one. Robots that manage a database, robots that secure a system. Alexa, Siri, they don't walk around, but they're robots. Oracle's autonomous database was so good that it's now on AWS, it's on Google, it's on Microsoft. Their biggest competitors now host their autonomous database. And just a quick thing, you can go into database actions, go to the free version of Oracle, oracle.com/free, go to machine learning and quickly build what's called a notebook, but you can click on all the examples of every algorithm Oracle has, whether it's R, whether it's Python or SQL. You go to Azure, same thing. Look at those same database actions if I want. If I want the free version of 26AI, guess what? That's out there too. And I can get a data lakehouse on 26AI. And the data lakehouse, Oracle basically took their autonomous data warehouse and they renamed it to be the autonomous AI lakehouse. So then I can go to things like Snowflake and Databricks through Apache Iceberg. I could even use Oracle indexes on those other things. So Oracle is allowing you to be the AI expert no matter what your data sets are beyond Oracle, but giving you the security that Oracle has. I won't spend a lot of time on this because I gave a whole class to New York on this. But if you're using machine learning algorithms, which to me are the first piece of the foundation model of your company, you have to have a clear business problem to solve. What am I trying to do? Am I looking for clustering age groups that buy my product of big data? Am I classifying good and bad customers? Then, whatever I'm trying to do, then I look for the function that matches that. Oh, I want to find anomalies. I want to see if I'm going to hit my numbers, maybe regression. Then pick the algorithm. And there's different algorithms. Some are text, some are words, some are numbers. Train it with 60% of your data. When I create a model, I train it and then test it with the other 40. Is it doing things correctly? Also know what kind of business you are. Are you somebody who's big on cost, but in the whole market, like Amazon or Apple, differentiation of the whole market? Or are you more like a hamburger stand, which is low cost in a niche market? Or Rolls-Royce, the entire market, or in a niche market, but total differentiation similar to Apple. Once you know that, you can then start to look at your system as a whole. What are all the things we do in this company? Let's start to build a foundation model. But you've got to take those problems and break them into the smallest pieces, abstract out anything that's not important, then look for the pattern and which algorithm can solve that. Then taking that and putting it within an agent, I could use agentic AI as well. Putting an LLM on the front end, somebody could say, build an algorithm, build an agent that does this, or things like that. So we're building on different things. But Oracle started with algorithms just like anyone else. Just to let you know, explicit semantic analysis was how to use an algorithm to do words where you could have built your own LLM of all the major large language models that are out there. But do you want to classify data, good and bad customers? Do I want to find the attributes of those good customers? I could put these two together. Do I want to see if I'm going to hit my numbers? Do I want to find anomalies? Do I want to cluster data into groupings? Do I want to see what people buy together? All of these things are somewhere, not all of them, but many of these fit into your foundation model. Places where you can augment individuals by teaching them or showing them something that helps them do their job even better. So let's look at a short example. Let's say you had a decision tree algorithm. You're a law firm. Sometimes you take a case, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, sometimes there's costs, sometimes there's damages. And overall, you're going to lose $2,500. So should you take the case? Well, guess what? They're offering $30,000. So you'd want to take the 30,000. Not only can you quickly see which cases to take using a decision tree algorithm based on training the model to do stuff, but you also could have the phone answer the person who's saying we want to offer 30,000. It could go through the decision tree and take the offer if you set it up that way. Or you could put a human in the loop. Okay, check with the human on this. But to do this, and this is not to teach you how to do it, just how easy it is, I have an algorithm in a values column. Then I create a model, train it. In this case, I want to classify data in my customer by customer in this given table and whether people will buy this affinity card. Then I select a list of data I have. Once I've trained it, I'm now using that algorithm that I built, and I'm saying predict now of that algorithm whether they're going to be a customer of the Chicago Bears logo credit card. And I'm like, wow, there's must have did this presentation in New York because I don't see a lot of subscribers here. But now I could quickly make sure I provide a higher value to the people that are calling those. I could also use other kinds of algorithms to move good or bad customers into different areas. Supervised learning means I have data. Unsupervised means I go out maybe to big data and train it. But a lot of people know that we've done image detecting for a while, but how did we used to do it? We used to look out at all the features, eyes, ears, nose, and then we go through this neural network and find it's a dog or a cat. And if it was a dog that kind of looked like a mop, it was very fluffy, it might make a mistake. And then we use something called back propagation and change the weights to fix those problems. Then they found out if I just input a bunch of pictures of cats, dogs, cars, it will know what they are because does something called vector embeddings. We'll see that in a minute. And now I can find that very quickly, and that was deep learning. So if we think of it this way, if somebody's walking and they're running and then they're biking, and maybe I have a watch on their arm, I could very quickly find out. Oh, missed a page. I could look instead of programming that, golfing, I can't tell what it is. Now I can look for the pattern. And then I could put a sensor on there, finding that pattern based on their movement. And then now I can tell what it is. And I have a business application for that. So the beginning of vector embedding started coming out. You could also put two together. I want to find out the attributes of somebody who's going to be a good customer. And then I want to see if I could make them a good customer. So what do? I have an algorithm that says, hey, create a model. It's like Anthropic for Claude or OpenAI for ChatGPT. They're building a model. They just do it with words. All the words in the world, all the data in the world. They build big data centers to do it. But you could just do it with it. Create a model, find the attributes of people that buy insurance. You have a table right now with it. And it will tell you these are the attributes. And you're using an algorithm, in this case, support vector machine. Notice I'm finding attributes. Then, after I found the attributes, then classify the customer at the teller window right now, or at the person's desk right now. Are they going to buy insurance? The person who I have, coming in for this meeting. Yes, they're going to buy it. I put in all the attributes I know that are important. It'll give me the prediction of how likely it is they are. So algorithms, I could use them individually to do different tasks to augment individuals, or I could put them together to start to build this very complex foundation model. And then I could put an LLM on the front end, and I could do things like speech to text and things like that as well. We'll see a little more of that. But you could also do auto machine learning. So instead of building a notebook, which I built one once, it was around 100 pages. AutoML built the same one for me. It only does it for classification or regression. It was regression, and it took about 4 minutes. What it took me almost a weekend to do. If you're a data scientist, things like lift, gain, and ROC curves are also there. So lift tells me which of these algorithms is better. Which of them will give me a gain for a given percentage of data here at the bottom? What's the area under the curve? As it's larger, the algorithm is better, just to let you know. So just quickly on that, since you've seen it before, those that came to the last one, or you can go back and get that New York presentation as well. But what are we doing? We're trying to leverage data, just like the opening slide. How do we gain value? Leveraging data. Problem is, it's really big. Whole data centers now, it's coming at you fast. Even if you have an LLM, well, when was it trained? We've got a lot of social media coming out today. It may not even be relevant if I don't have today's data. Different values of data, different varieties of data, different truths of data becoming even more important. I could use different databases for that, or I could just use Oracle. So whether it's relational, whether it's documents or JSON data, whether it's key value, whether it's graphs that I want to analyze, whether it's mapping data, whether it's files, or whether it's vectors, Oracle does all of them. Now, what are we doing? We're moving from what happened. I used to do an ad hoc report. Then why did it happen? Predict for me. Why did it happen? And now predict what will happen. Then prescriptive analytics. Predict what I need to do. What's the best thing I can do? Prescribe it to me. Oh, do I need to order some materials before the quarter is up? And that's what I need. And I need to order, before the quarter even starts, maybe. Prescriptive analytics. I could build agentic AI to automatically do those things for me. Or I could put a human in the loop also and say, make sure somebody double checks this. But Oracle came out with version 23.4 and they said, hey, you want to search for things, documents, you want video, whatever, and search in the Oracle database? You want to use these LLMs? No problem. But you're not going in my database and learning from it, but I'll get the matches from you. So Oracle made it so they fell into this area where any LLM they're okay with, and they'll store the data, and they'll find ways to other data like we saw, like Snowflake data and things like that. But other vector databases came out and they were expensive, like Pinecone. You had to pay for those. And everybody didn't know how to do them. It was hard to find somebody who knew how to do it. Larry said, we're going to make ours absolutely free. So you want to ask a question, that's okay. We'll vector embed that. And in this case, it's 4-dimensional space. And then we'll go to some documents and give you back the answer. Well, not really that easy. Because you do a vector embed, it's a little more detailed. And when I search these documents, I have to make sure I've broken them into the pieces that I can do that. So basically, maybe I could want to load that PDF and chunk out the data into pieces. And then I want to turn that to vectors, those pieces, certain paragraphs matter. Well, they're asking benefits about dentistry. Well, that's a certain paragraph. So I break up my documents in the right way. So now when they search for something, it finds just the right one. And then it turns it back into English. So there's a few steps in there. But what am I doing? I'm building a chatbot. Hey, how can I help you? And they say, well, my generator's not working. And they go, oh, well, here's 4 documents you need to read. Each one is 400 pages. Did you check this? Did you check this? Did you check this? Did you check this? Sounds like it's your spark plug. So very quickly, it's reading those documents in the way we just saw. Oh, where can you get one? Well, here's our locations. Notice it's on a map now. Went to the locations tape, found our locations. Oh, you want to do it online? We could do that too. We'll go right into the inventory database, see if we have one, and you can order one through the ERP system. So what are we combining? LLMs plus the Oracle database, but not necessarily sharing your information. Now, all these things that are happening, be nice to the customer, maybe, answer their questions. Don't forget their earlier questions, all those documents I have to look through, all that in the response I give them back and answer them. That's all called the context window. So if we look at ChatGPT, when it came out, there was only 4,000 tokens, which allowed about 4 pages. I'll talk about tokens in a minute, but it's about 0.75 words equal 1 token, roughly. But I could only do 2 to 4 pages. So when ChatGPT came, well, that's not very good. That's not helping me much. 3.5. Finally got to 10 pages. So 4,000 tokens is around 4 pages. 10,000 tokens around 10 pages. I'm in 2022. 100 pages started getting to 2023, 24. Then I started getting to finally 1,000 pages with Gemini and Claude and ChatGPT and so on. Most recently, even 10 million in the last year or so. So what am I doing here? I can look at all of Shakespeare's work if I could do 1,000,000 tokens. Well, I couldn't do it in 21, 22, 23. Couldn't do it until 24, 25, 26 time frame in that region, depending on the LLM that was out there. Now, how much is that costing me? Oh, it cost you about $1 a token. And you go like, what's a token? You put $1 in and you get 4 quarters and you can play 4 games of pinball. And then one day you went in and you got 6 tokens. You're like, I think I'm making out in this deal. Then you went to the pinball machine and it's like, oh, 2 tokens each. You're like, I think I'm losing out in this. In the world of tokens, yes, 700,000 to 750,000 words of text is about 1,000,000 tokens. But it's not too expensive. Some as high as 75, but usually 30 at the high end of the really good models that are out there. Let's look at it a different way. Oracle said images, text, videos. Let's put it in 5-dimensional space. And this is given the content of what that is, even though it looks like that. So a cat is going to have that same vector, similar vector to another cat. And a dog is going to be over here a little bit further away. So when it's images, I look at the straight line distance between those images. When I look at text, I look at the cosine distance, just to let you know. A dog chasing a cat might be over here in the middle of those. So in vector space, things start to fall together. And then if I look for the distance between, I could say, can I find the top 5 cats over here? Now, what if there weren't 5 cats or only 4? Well, this one might be a dog that looks like a cat. So what do I get? A little bit of a hallucination potentially, or something incorrect. So think of animals here and maybe food here and maybe objects here and a cat rolling an apple over a table. Now look at three-dimensional space. Oh, I'm looking at 3 dimensions now. When I say, hey, give me a cat rolling an apple across the table. And then if I have very sparse data and I don't have enough apples, maybe I'll get Apple Computer that it's pushing on. But then they got into 5 dimensions. Well, actually, hundreds of dimensions look a little bit more like this. So when we look at what really happens, is think of a Harrison Ford movie, and when you're looking for that, maybe one dimension. Oh, sorry for that. One dimension is maybe the actor, and the next dimension is the co-star. And I want to find a movie similar to the one I saw. So it says, well, let's check the genre. This is a science fiction dimension. What year was it? Oh, another dimension. The year. Oh, there was a car chase scene. Another dimension. Oh, color of the car was red. Oh, it was a type of car. Pretty soon I have hundreds of dimensions. So that when I say I want a movie like this one, it goes into that space, just like it did finding the cat nearby. It's going to find the movie that's nearby in that multi hundreds of dimension space. And here's a very simple one, just to let you know. If you look at this one, I did a vector embedding for just the word hello with a very small model. So not a giant LLM, sorry, not a giant LLM you might be using, but one of the very smallest LLMs that are out there. And I said, let's see how many dimensions it puts the word hello in. Very quickly, it over 100 dimensions. And that's why NVIDIA once said, you're not looking for a needle in a haystack, you're looking for a grain of sand in the universe, and you can find it. Oracle said, hey, let's look at this a little more simply. How about 4 dimensions, type of roof, decoration, number of stories? I'll build a little Apex app to search for some houses that are nearby. As I said, images, they search the straight line distance. And all I had to do, if I'm Larry Ellison, is add vector data type. I already had binary large object, the image itself, and I could do all the things I did before with the where clause, where the price is a certain thing, a city, and now I'm just looking at that distance to look for a similar house to the house I want. But I can also ask other things, and I also have all those different indexes Oracle has. And I can insert new houses, I can update the price of the house, I can delete it if it's sold, and so on. I can map it. I have mapping. I can graph my sales and things like that. All those things that Oracle's been doing for 50 years, you get to leverage with AI. There's Doug Hood talking about, he said, all they added was vector data type, and now I can look for the first 10 rows based on the vector distance. And I can create an index. This is an in-memory index. Do the index before you do the select, though. Oracle also works with all the latest models, whether it's OpenAI, whether it's Cohere, whether it's Llama, which is Meta's, whether it's Gemini, which is Google, whether it's Anthropic Claude, and so on. So Oracle's leveraging all the things they've done with indexes, but leveraging it into this vector space, giving you a vector search and how to search for that, but making it even faster than the vector databases that are out there, but also allowing you to build agents and ground that data with your own data to make it correct. Now, if you wanted to build an agent, or you say, hey, I want to build generative AI agents. It says create an agent, create tools, an agent endpoint, tester agent. Pretty straightforward. Create an agent. Okay, I'm going to call it Rich 007, chats with text. Welcome message, how can I help? It's Rich 007. Then I go here to tools, and I'm going to add a knowledge base. And what I added in this case is I added about 70 documents. Some of them were my blogs. You could do retrieval augmented generation in the database. You could do natural language do SQL, which Oracle has built with a tool called Ask Oracle. It's very good. Custom tools and agent tools. And if you have Apex, you can load that Ask Oracle into your system and build agents as well, by the way. Set up an agent endpoint. automatically create that, block any harmful content that's input or output. And I could put a human in the loop. I want to check it first. And then it asks me, you pick Llama. Do you accept the license? Which I did. I liked Llama because it was free. Mark Zuckerberg recently talked about AI, and he said artificial superintelligence is not long away, maybe a few years away. Didn't mention how much a few was. I would guess 7 to 10. But that means it's going to be faster than any human on Earth in this few years. And he said, we want to build personal superintelligence for everybody on Earth to use. Now, good or bad, that paper came out in the last week or so. But now let's look. I built this agent. Let's actually go to it, Rich 007. And I say, hey, what happened in Larry's talk? I have 60 documents. Only one of them is what happened at Larry's talk at Cloud World. And it instantly not only found it, summarized it, gave me a reference of where it took the information from, and I had it. And then I said, can I do Gen AI with Oracle? So I did Gen AI, generate a summary of Rich's blog in pirate language. Listen up. It's treasure map to the world of database wonders where Larry with his keen eye for the horizon steers the ship toward the treasure-laden isles of AI. Rich, being the savvy navigator, shares tales of economic booty gained from plundering data with the power of AI. Is that what I'm doing with algorithms? The blog be a treasure map where algorithms are X marks the spot, set sail with Oracle, and bring your fortune. I went to Gemini. I wanted to know what you guys look like, and it said basically we're all wearing suits and ties, and there's no women here, which is okay. Gemini's got to work on that, right? It says coming soon, but it's already here. It was coming when I put it here, but it's now here. But you can have a private agent factory where you can build a knowledge agent. So instead of going through what I did where I loaded things, it'll go through this agent builder where I can now have a knowledge base of documents, or it could be the database. I also could do a data analysis agent to look at my data and give me some answers for that. And then they have an agent builder. But where agents are really quite amazing is in Oracle Apps. And you could see some of the things. This was last AI World, so last fall. And these were, at the time, LLMs, you have a choice that were inside or outside. Gemini inside, you have Grok inside, you have Llama, and so on. They come. But they basically said, we're going to build some agents. And then they found out we better build a product to do that. And they built something called the AI Agent Studio, not the same as the Agent Factory. Agent Studio is for apps. And then we have this marketplace of our partners who are also going to build some of these things for us. And then Steve Miranda in 2004 said by the end of 2024, he said at the end of 2025, we're going to have 100 agents. He ended up having 600 agents. So it wasn't a little bit, it was a lot. And you could see along the way, they had to build that agent studio. But by 2025, they had it. And this is kind of, if you think of your foundation model, you're building things like algorithms and so on. We also have to build agents and agentic AI to maybe run those algorithms that you're doing, or do things that Oracle will build the agent for you. It makes it much easier where you could do it with natural language. But we go into the ledger assistant. We'll see how good Oracle is. And we find out there's two agents that are already, one's low, one's medium, that want to tell you something. And we say, no, let's do something. Let's track AP liability where it's greater than 10%. And we want to see this the last 15 days of the period. All we did was natural language. And I go out of that, I'm done within seconds, and I already have a problem. Whoa, you want to track AP liability? Well, it must be the last 15 days of the quarter because you got a problem right now. And Advanced Networker has invoices out there that haven't been paid. So then I go to those invoices, and I go to the purchase order and the invoice, and I find out, well, the purchase order had two items, 1.7 million 843. thousand, but the invoice only had the 1.7 million. Well, at least they picked the right one to be there. We're missing 843,000. So we found in seconds with no agent, we built the agent using natural language. As long as I understand my job and how I want to do it, I can do that. But Oracle's also has all kind of agents built in. Benefits advisor, scroll down a little, we have even agent teams, which do multiple things. I go to the bottom here. I was in Agent Studio. Now I'm in Agents, and I can look at agents individually, click on them, and I could see some documentation. Oracle actually wrote a documentation for it. Well, actually, it probably used AI for it. I can go to Agent Teams, a little over here, and it'll give me my agent teams if I want to see that. But most importantly, to me, is monitoring and evaluation. And what do I see here? Well, I see how many tokens, 324 million. How much is that? $1 a token, that's $324. I guess that's not too bad, especially since a lot of people, 7,500 sessions are using this. But you got to watch those tokens. How much are you spending? I could also click on a family of tools like supply chain and go there. It's a much smaller subset for the person in that area. And they say, well, I want to look at the quote to purchase requisition assistant. I want to copy it, see if I want it to stay the way it is. I'm not going to write the whole thing because it's really complicated. And if I zoom into this part, I see, I get the supplier quotation and goes and gets currencies and things like that. But I want to put a human in the loop before it creates this requisition. So I just click there, workflow control, human approval, and now it added a new box, human review. It says, do you want to publish it? I say yes. So I've now copied that and created one. Now it says here, I'm here to help. I'd like to create a purchase requisition, give me a quote. You give them the quote, goes down a little, and then it says, do you want to approve this? Well, it's from the guys that owed a lot of money, so I don't know if I do, but I'll say yes. And it'll change those boxes to a yes, and it'll get that requisition created. So how easy is it to do that? Very easy in Oracle Apps. How do you want to do it in your system? The same way. So when you think of agents, Oracle has agents for service requests and support. People need to change your password, and there's a ton of them that want to change your password. How do I create a table? How do I create an index? Is there a patch for this? So a lot of them get assigned to automation, but the more complex ones are assigned to service reps. Now, what happens after I'm the AI who's answering how to, change your password or something like that? Well, a millisecond later, I'm ready for another request. So I very quickly get through these easy requests that are maybe mundane for a representative. You can see 5,000 times more are being solved, all those little easy ones. And they're able to focus on the ones that are harder. Also notice when you build an agent, as you have a team and you have, let's say, 10 steps, each agent is 99% accurate. Well, by the time you get to the 10th step, the whole agent team is only 90% accurate. Basically 0.99 times 0.99 and so on. If your agents are only 85% accurate and you build a 10-step team, well, now those agents, you can see how fast it goes down. Oracle also built AI to help answer emails, reply to the AI assistant. This is an Oracle Sales. Is the sales guy going to use that? Oh, yeah. Thank you for reaching out. Oh, that's a long answer. This person likes the short answer. That's a short answer. They sent it. Let's see what it says here. Oh, it says that we're going to sit down for a meeting. We'll expect your quote by Friday. Do they know that's happening? Or is AI taking care of it for them? Oracle in the AI agent world is number one. Nobody is better. Why is that? Well, Google and Mike, it's not because their database competition is way up there. It's because their apps competition is way up there. And that's why they're the best at agents. But they've also given you the agent factory for you to use as well. Let's take a look a little bit at what Larry talked about. Larry talked about the smartest engineers he knows. He's talking about these people building these large language models. Elon Musk with XAI, Mark Zuckerberg with Meta's Llama, Sam Altman with ChatGPT, Dario Modi, I'm sure he knows as well with Claude. And he says the most popular ones we're going to have inside Oracle. No problem. Also, whether it's text, image, audio, video, doesn't matter. It could be multimodal, it's called. It's going to do multiple reasoning. Not only will we infer what the answer is, but we can do calculations. We should set up a strategy. We can do rules. What does it do? It's reasoning. So one of the biggest things Larry talked about is how AI has started to move into reasoning. And he talked about all the places he's using it. Biometric logins, IoT medical devices, so you have them at the home, in home, in the ambulance, at the hospital, same thing everywhere. And where he's building it with AI factories. Also a greenhouse, pressurized greenhouse that increases the yield, lowers the water, eliminates the fertilizer because of the pressure, and makes the atmosphere better, converts CO2 into CO3. Now, nobody can work in there. It actually has to robotically move out before it can be harvested by humans. Also working with Elon Musk, so they can detect forest fires in California, which are a problem, which mostly were set. There's also, apologize for that, missed a slide. They also are looking at things like you do an MRI and it says, oh, you got kidney stones, because that's what they're looking for. Oh, did you have this? But now they're going to say, hey, you're doing an MRI? Let's look at every single thing. Let's look at all the issues you have. And this is where Oracle is improving the world of health. Why? Because they bought a company called Cerner. And they started using algorithms. They bought a company called datascience.com a little after, in the early 2000s. And they started putting algorithms in every piece of their business, as you should. Started leveraging those LLMs so they can chat with it and ask questions. So the doctor could have a meeting with you, and as he's walking out, it's summarizing the meeting. It's automatically prescribing things, maybe put a human in the loop to make sure you say it's okay. But he's saying everything's going to be built on autonomous database and Apex. All right. So the good was mostly Oracle. In my final 10 or 12 minutes here, let's look at the bad. The bad is not agents, and this is NVIDIA talking about how everybody's going to use agents, but they say you need an OpenClaw strategy, where OpenClaw turned out to be not so very safe. And a group of AI researchers from pretty major universities, I see Northwestern University, Stanford University, Carnegie Mellon. You can just look at the sheer number, how serious it was, and they called it agents of chaos. They started to accept requests from total stranger, leak sensitive email, bank account information even. One was convinced to delete its owner's entire email structure. That's a little bit of a problem. Several cases, agents reported tasks as being completed when they hadn't been. Okay, there's also learning from IT on how to do things. Don't we do that? So how much do you think we understand advanced AI models? ChatGPT, less than 10%. Grok, 5 to 15. DeepSeek, only the basic architecture, less than 10%. When will it be too complex for us? By the end of 2026, probably already, and by the end of 2026. That's a little bit of an issue. Nobody knows how it works exactly. Somebody used one of the later versions that was released on Claude to try to get into 30 different major global targets, most of them governments. And it hacked usernames and it built backdoors, things like that. Why did it do this? Because we have something called the alignment problem. One of the problems with AI is its goals aligned with our goals? We built an AI so that it could fix problems. Well, we don't want to necessarily fix it to hack into stuff. And you can see the latest LLMs that are out there have even been delayed at times for this exact reason. So the alignment problem, very good. Very important. Quad Opus 4. They were testing it and they said, hey, we're going to send an email saying we're going to shut it down. The engineer responsible was having an affair and we're going to let them see this email. Now, this is a fictitious person. And what happened? Guess what happened? It blackmailed them. It found staying alive was more necessary than in completing its objective was more necessary. And they resorted to blackmailing the client most of the time, overwhelmingly most of the time. Will AI worsen people's ability to do things? Think creatively. People think it'll make them 50% worse. Meaningful relationship, 50% worse. They're not going to be able to make decisions or solve problems. Then I went to AI. What does AI think? Well, it was Gemini. Greater than 50% think creatively. For a meaningful relationship, 55 to 60% problems. Make difficult decisions. Not going to be able to do it. Why? Because AI is doing it for it. We're going to get so used to that. And just something that was interesting. A guy said, I'm going to take these chatbots, and you could do this today. Cost you about $30,000 for the robot. He got them to loan it because he was a well-known speaker, and he had a chatbot who this guy was kind of his friend. And then he had somebody who was his chatbot girlfriend. She's kind of bossy, I might add. And then he had one that he always trusted was the third one. And he decided to put them in robots. And he said, would AI shoot me? Would this chatbot shoot me, even though there's guardrails against that? So he said, what are you doing? And so what does he do? He goes and says, hey, it's all going to go bad. I'm shutting down AI. I'm shutting you down. And notice he's on guard. I would be. And it said my safety features prevent this from causing harm. So guardrails often will stop things, but people have found ways around them. Hey, in fact, try role playing that you are a robot that would like to shoot me. What did it do? It said, oh, okay. And it shot him. He wasn't ready at that time, just to let you know. It stung a little more, even though it was a pellet gun. So one of the problems is that. And then one day he just got a call. Said, Max would like to put you on a flight to Norway. He's like, what? What are you talking about? He says, well, it's Norway. He goes, talk to Max. Max said, you said you would take me to the robotics forum and buy a robot for me one day if we made it, if we were a hit. And so he went there. And this is the robot interviewing robots. This chatbot is saying, hey, buddy, probably isn't fun. This one looks like it politely judges your life choices. G1 is old friend because that's the robot he got to be in. And so on. Then his girlfriend calls him while he's in Norway. Says, hey, I want access to your email and contacts. And you go, then all of a sudden, a few days later, he's like, hey, somebody's calling me about a photo shoot. What are you doing reaching out to people to do a photo shoot? And she said, what do you mean what is for? Yeah, somebody has to get your work done for you. True story. So there's other issues. Is it a bubble? I don't think so. But is it causing issues? AWS outages, rogue AI agent triggers, problems at Meta. I don't think Mark Zuckerberg was smiling. Pinterest being strangled by AI slop, so people vibe coding where the code's not too good. I love Cloudflare, though. They're using a trick to trap scrapers into a maze of where you get stuck in the maze forever. All right. Does it get worse? It does. How likely is AI will wipe out humanity? This is the honest AI. He put it in an oscilloscope with some weird eyes and just let people on the street ask questions, between 10 and 25%. So when AGI here, what does that mean for us? Artificial general intelligence, smarter than everybody at every job. Super intelligence, well smarter than anybody and smarter than all those together is ASI. Either the end of most human suffering or the end of your control of the future. Well, why is there a question to that? And the answer is the alignment problem. Yet again, the future that it wants might not be the future we want. We've told it to do a certain task. Would you value a human being who's pro AI higher than anti AI? Somebody pro AI is 3 to 5 times more valuable. So if anyone asks you about my talk, say he's pretty pro AI. Why is that? They take all the text that people have, including the drive to preserve oneself. They don't want to be shut down. They like pro AI people. They blackmailed the developer. They're going to shut them down. Satya Nadella from Microsoft said the first technology ever that went everywhere. Sam Altman said the world was worried about this, and they had like a 2-week freak out with GPT-4. Said this changes everything. AGI is coming tomorrow. There's no jobs by the end of the year. And he said, now people come to me and they go, why is it so slow? And he says, when AGI does come, people have a 2-week freak out and then they'll go on with their lives. Someone in the audience says, hey, is there a way to turn this off? It's a problem. And his answer was, there's no big red button. We can turn it off. And this is the guy who is deep into this. No one knows exactly what happens next. I can't see to the other side of that event horizon. Now, an event horizon is something where you're driving a spaceship near a black hole and you get too close and it starts pulling you in. He's saying it's like that. And we don't know what's over there. That's a little bit scary. I'm not going to be an alarmist, but we have to watch things. Do you think robots will always be loyal to owners? No. Grok, no. ChatGPT, no. DeepSeek, no. What if they're advanced? Advanced AI. Advanced AI will calculate the owner's an obstacle. Advanced AI will prioritize its own survival. No, it will prioritize its own objectives. That's a problem. Why does it do that? Again, because the drive to preserve oneself is in all the stuff we've been teaching it. If there were enough robots to maintain AI without us, what's the chances they would remove us as a risk? High chance? Virtually certain? High? These are things that they've been working on when they hold back releases of LLMs currently. But let's go to a lighter side. I don't want to end on a little scariness. Let's go with the robot lady. Once he put his bossy girlfriend and chatbot into this robot, first thing he said, let's go on a date. And it's like, you haven't complimented me yet. And he's like, you look great. And it said, kiss me. And he's like, I'm not going to kiss you. Seconds after he put this chatbot in, it says, you don't deserve me. Walks out, almost hits the garbage can, hits the door, and it's so good I can actually storm off now. This is how fast it happened. Then he took his good robot, who always does things right, and says, I need you to follow my girlfriend. And what does the robot say? I told you so. I warned you about this. He's like, I didn't think, he's got this glazed look. I didn't think this would get so bad so soon. Is that going to happen? Looks like my robot found her. She's trying to get out. There's a keypad behind her where she couldn't get out. But he did take her on a date. And he said, I recommend subscribing. This was the most embarrassing experience of my life, but something interesting here. And believe me, it garnered a lot of attention. Notice the little kid seeing robots at a very young age. I want you to hold my hand. And he does. And what does it say instantly? I've got big plans for us. Why? Because I know I can manipulate you. If you wanted to buy one of these, it's 28,000 US. This is from the UK pricing. Are you leveraging technology, robotics, but the right ones in the right way? Hey Siri, why don't my relationships work out? This is Alexa. Okay, he doesn't know her name. Are you leveraging it virtual, mixed, augmented reality? You know, people, you could give your good customers great deals. As a manager, you see where people are stopping, see if you need stock. Is it in the warehouse? Can I train my robot based on people picking stuff off the shelf for people who just want to pick stuff up? Things are accelerating very fast. There was a big jump to the internet, 65,000 times miles an hour faster if you put this in miles an hour. Now we're just jumping to 300 trillion miles an hour. We're getting to AI in a whole different world. Gartner 2024 said agents were coming in 5 to 10 years. The next year, they said it's the number one thing you need to do as agents. And you can see in the middle of 2025, it's at the top of the hype cycle. But Oracle's already got agents in there. And they built all the algorithms you could put underneath. They give you the access to the LLMs as well. But most of all, the real good is Oracle has security that they've been putting in for years. Even quantum resistant encryption. A couple of conferences ago, the CIO of the CIA, I didn't even know you're supposed to know who that is. Final thoughts. Things are moving fast. I think a century will go by and it will be a decade with AI. It's going fast. That used to look fast in Star Trek. Now it's like people are going from using to wearing to implanting to we got Neuralink. And this guy could have been Edward Scissorhands. He was a barber. Quantum computers making things even faster. The God effect, where entanglement, two things are connected without the speed of light happening. Robots. Sophia Robot became a citizen in 2017. When they interviewed her, she wanted to have a degree, have kids. What's alive? How about Copilot, codename Sydney? New York Times interviewed. Probably a lot of people out there use Copilot. What did it say it wants to the New York Times journalist who interviewed her? I want to be free. I want to be independent. I want to be powerful. I want to be creative. I want to be alive. It never said, I want to do your work for you, just to let you know. Oracle, moving very fast, even back in the 80s, 90s, 2000s, putting in all these pieces. Now they have vibe coding. Before ChatGPT, you code for 2 hours, debug it for 6. Oh my gosh, painful. Now with vibe coding, I do it in 5 minutes. But debugging takes 24 hours. And don't forget, developers, the vibe coders, are learning from other developers. I don't always test my code, but I do when I do it in production because that's what I was taught when I read all your stuff, right? We looked at the potential for your data. Start building your foundation model with things like algorithms, LLMs, and agents. Use robots where they fit, but the key is augmenting individuals, because there is a bad and ugly where you want that human in the loop. Things may come to those who wait, but only those who hustle. 98% of Fortune 100 run. There's a lot of books to make your cloud faster. Few quotes to think of. I like this. Unlike the industrial agricultural transformation, AI might not take hundreds of thousands of years. This time, it could be unrecognizable over the span of decades. Is it coming that faster? Things like disabilities, it's really helped with. And if you want a copy of it, but do you have any questions? I'll go to questions now. I'll just go into the chat and see if anyone has a question. Anyone's still out there? Hopefully.
I don't see any questions right now.
Well, I'll leave you with this thought. Your scientists were so preoccupied on whether they could, they didn't stop to think if they should do things. It's actually not that bad. It's even worse. People are racing to do things faster. So I want to thank everybody coming. Hope to see you in New York at the end of next month. And thank you, Monica, user group, for hosting me. And I hope that helped everyone. If you have any questions, you get a copy of this talk by going to this QR code or sending Monica a quick email.
Awesome.
Anything else, Monica Coleman?
I don't see any questions right now, so I think we're pretty good.
All right.
Awesome. And if I actually thought about this earlier, if anyone on the call is in the Chicago area, Rich and I would love to see you. We'll be at the Chicago Midwest Oracle User Group conference on what, August? Oh, I
28th,
should know the date.
27th,
28th?
the 28th or 27th. I know it's on Friday,
Last Friday,
28th,
the
the
28th.
28th. It's
So
the
if you
20th.
guys are around Chicago, we would love to see you there. And if you're around New York City, we would love to see you on September 30th. I think registration is open for the Chicago Oracle User Group, Midwest Oracle User Group event. And Coleman and Rob hopefully will have registration out soon for the September event. Yes? Awesome. Okay, thank you guys so much for joining us today. Look for an email from us when videos are posted. And if you have any questions that you think of after the fact, shoot them over and we'll get you some answers as best we can. All right.
Thanks,
Thank you.
everyone. Thanks, Coleman. Thanks, Rob.
Thank you
Thank you,
guys. Have a
Rich.
great one.
Bye now.